Lithion of Quebec recently inked a deal with Hyundai Canada to provide battery recycling services for the Korean manufacturer. And I'm interested, is this a sign of the times? The OEMs, as they switch to electric cars, are very concerned about the end of the life cycle for batteries and what happens to them after they're no longer usable for EVs. And so I'm going to talk to Jean-Christophe Lambert from Lithion. Welcome to the interview, Jean-Christophe.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Maybe we could start with just a brief overview of the agreement that your company has entered into with Hyundai Canada.
Yeah, so the agreement we've just signed with them was really around their end-of-life hybrid and electric vehicle batteries. So we have been in contact with Hyundai for a couple of months now, and we've already tested some of their batteries at our pilot unit, who's in Anjou, Montreal, so in the eastern part of the Highland. And since the past months, we've been testing these batteries, getting good results. And now, I think that it's a good sign that the automaker wanted to, officialize this and have a solution in place for their batteries. I think that's a really visionary of them to think it that way.
Well, a couple of points here. I mean, your process recycles 95% of a battery. There's a couple of other Canadian companies, and I'm very fascinated by the fact that this technology is Canadian companies are kind of leading the way, including yours. And it seems to me that we're kind of headed for almost a circular economy around EVs and batteries. Is your company think that way as well?
Of course, yeah. Circular economy is really part of our DNA. It was really how the technology was designed. So typically we receive a battery pack from an automaker, and our final products are the nickel, the cobalt, the lithium, the graphite that you have into the batteries. And this is what we return to the battery supply chain. So we use that we're able to do that using hydrometallurgy-based solution. And yes, circular economy, I think, is really important to be able to be implemented, because we will have eventually a shortage of these important materials. And this is one way Canada can actually position itself to be a part of the battery supply chain.
Yeah, I'm sure that comes up in your conversations with Hyundai and other OEMs. I interviewed someone from the Canadian Mining Association today, and they're talking about how concerned the Americans are about having sort of locking down the security of minerals for that supply chain. And does that come up in your conversations?
Yeah, it's something we've been following as well. I think that Canada and the US, with the close relationship that the two countries have together, I think they could work together to be able to implement this industry. Battery manufacturing is still I would say limited in North America compared to what we're seeing in Asia and now what's being done in Europe. So I think that with the mining support and the recycling also from Canada, having the two countries together, I think could make an interesting case for battery manufacturers. Definitely.
Now, what is the potential for expansion for Lithion? Are you looking at all of Canada? Are you looking at the American market? Are you looking outside of Canada?
Yeah, definitely. We're planning to go commercial next year in Quebec, first and foremost, but we are planning to expand also in the US and in Europe first of all. Our business model is based on licensing. So we want to license our technology to local operators. This is to limit, first and foremost, the transportation of the batteries, which is a major challenge in this industry. And dealing with hazardous material is not easy when you're thinking about handling and transportation. So this is why we want to make sure that we work with folks locally to be able to process them and limit that as much as we can.
So how does this work? Do you have smaller plants spread out across the country where they do the recycling, and then the recycled materials go back to the OEM, say like at Hyundai in Ontario or Quebec, where the vehicles are manufactured? Or do you ship the entire battery to a central plant that then is near the manufacturer? How does that work?
So our process is divided in two key steps. So the first is typically the shredding, where we do also the dismantling. that could be more locally based, you know, in order to be able, as I said, to limit the transportation. And typically we create what it's called in the industry black mass, and that black mass will be going to more regional plants. So with our plant in Quebec, for example, which is using the hydrometallurgy, since it needs a certain scale to be able to be operational, you know, we will be serving practically a good amount of North America in general with this plant. But we will need some locally based shredding operations to feed that plant. So this is the goal. We plan to do also the same thing in Europe, to have partners there to also operate a hydrometallurgy plant and some smaller plants to do the shredding. Yeah.
Now, final question, Jean-Christophe. You're located in Quebec, where Quebec Hydro produces very clean electricity. Is abundant clean electricity an important part of your business model?
Yes, definitely. You know, it allows us to have also a cheaper cost for electricity, but sustainability is kind of rising up as one of the key elements for recycling, and as well battery manufacturing in general. You know, not just recycling. We've seen in the past couple months announcement of battery manufacturers, you know, relocating to countries. If you're thinking about the Scandinavia, for example, where they can reduce their environmental footprint in their battery production steps. You know, so recycling, I think, will eventually kind of follow that trend. And Quebec is a great location to do such a thing. So I think it's really strategic indeed to be located in Quebec for, you know, the hydropower, but as well for the overall ecosystem that we have here. You know, we have manufacturers of e-buses. We have also, you know, all different elements that are there in place to support such a recycling project and build kind of a hub here in Quebec to serve North America as a whole.
Well, it's very exciting to see a Canadian company expand like this, and the sector in particular in Canada. So good luck with your future expansion, and thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me again, and stay tuned. We're having more announcements to come, and we look forward to continue our development.